Beep, 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 beep. Welcome, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever the hell you are in the globe. Welcome to the EDI Jester. Last call for the Winning Mindset for August, going up in the next couple of days. Come on, folks, get those forms filled out and come and join people like you getting involved at the grassroots level. So, what we got here today for you, buy me a coffee, blah, blah, blah. Right now, the Daily Fail has got its knickers in a twist. And it's always fun when the Daily Mail gets its knickers in a twist, right? So this particular knicker twisting episode is this, right? The NHS loses 26,000 working hours to its staff attending woke events as waiting lists soar to a record 7.4 million, right? Okay. So what they're saying is that they're wasting money on woke events, 26,000 working hours. There are 1.25 million people working for the NHS. So this is peanuts, right? This is peanuts. And the only reason I'm going through it with you is because I think the article misses the point entirely. Misses the point entirely. Despite, this is possibly being true and in fact maybe a gross underestimate. So let's have a look and see what's going on with this Daily Fail knicker twist, okay? The NHS is still letting staff waste more than 26,000 hours a year, attending woke events. The Daily Mail revealed last year how staff networks used 1 million of taxpayers' cash to put on non-clinical activities between 2019 and 2022. That's a problem. What the hell are they doing? These events, often during the working day, focused on transgender issues, sexuality and racism. They included a tea and rainbow cake, picnic, and a special session on pronouns, right? People, right? This is the NHS, right? Here's what you have to understand about the NHS, right? It's big enough to almost be a small country. It's like nascent. Okay, if this is one of those sci-fi films, it would be, they're a colony now, don't mess with them, right? They're their own colony. And it is run very much along socialist, or even if you want to push it that far, communist guidelines, right? Because it is in essence, the only organisation in the country that should be aiming for equity, not equality of opportunity, because equity is you go in unwell and you come out well, right? That's the end result. The only thing the NHS is there for is to make people well. That's the reason they exist. So in effect, it is an organisation, probably the only one, that does not aim for equality of opportunity in terms of being primary, but it triages and finds people that needs the most help, and it makes the worst people who are ill, mostly ill, better if they can, obviously. And then, I've hurt my knee is right down at the bottom, whereas, I've severed my head is right there at the top if they're still functioning, right? So in other words, everybody's got to be better when they come out. They go in not well or unwell and they come out a bit better or totally better. I've been through all this with them, right? So their aim is to keep people well and alive. That's a kind of equity. Equality of outcome. Everybody comes out better than they went in. That's the game, okay? So that's why this NHS sits in the middle of the UK is an anomaly. That's not to confuse with what happens in the workplace, in which people who are, for example, vying for promotion are given equality of opportunity regardless of who they are. People who are attempting to do business with the NHS are given equality of opportunity, etc., right? So it's a 1.25 million socialist state occupying Britain, right? In the middle of Britain, okay? So essentially it's got very socialist principles, because the idea of universal healthcare is, of course, a socialist principle in itself. Now, that's not a bad thing, that's a good thing. Right? Then I honestly think, right, the NHS is the reason why we're Turf Island. Right? As well as, it's not the sole reason, because the women are the reason we're Turf Island, right? And the fact that they started this grassroots movement years ago. I'm saying that the NHS has proved to be a blocker on the very worst of these gay conversion therapy child mutilating lunatics. Okay? I'm saying it's proved to be a blocker because it is responsible and accountable to us, the public. Right, okay, so there's been an analysis of a freedom of information request is what's really caused this, ruckus in the Daily Mail, which has been done by a think tank who are reporting on that and saying, here's what we found. So go and have a look at that. I'm not going to go through the whole damn thing because you can go and have a look for yourselves, right? But it's so what they've done is essentially the Taxpayers Alliance, which the left will go, that's an extreme right-wing organisation. I don't care who it is what they're saying true or false? The Taxpayer Alliance has revealed health bosses have failed to clamp down on the networks which put almost 1,000 events between January 2022 and March this year. 1,000 events, right, across the year, equal to more than 3 events per working day. Now, in 1.25 million people, this is peanuts. I can see what they're trying to do, and you can see what they're trying to do, which is they're trying to make weighted numbers seem impressive. Now, I'm sure that what the Policy Exchange has done is, the Taxpayers Alliance has done, is provided us with information that we need by using Freedom of Information requests. And nobody should have any problem with that. Really, you shouldn't. You know, that's what people should be doing. But they estimate it will be a significant underestimate because the vast majority of responses did not say how many people attended each event, and not all events were recorded due to a lack of information. It is time, in my mind, for the EHRC, these bloody acronyms drive a man mad, that the EHRC stepped forward and said that affinity groups in the workplace based around immutable characteristics are a breach of the Equality Act. Let's bring a test case. It's time we said so. Staff networks should not exist inside the workplace. End of story. Unless it's for disability support. That's it, right? So what happens is you get these various networks leap out of nowhere. I've got a friend of mine at the moment who's had some non-binary on the phone saying they want to set up an Educate and Celebrate network. And I'm like, don't touch it with a barge pole. Start looking for another job. Right? Because their companies let them in and they're done. The company's done. The jollies are going ahead despite ministers calling for the NHS to cut back on waste and wokery and managers claiming the service needs more money. Well, you can't, don't give them any more money. We're giving them loads and they'll eat it. They'll eat it. It's a never-ending, bloated behemoth. It's socialist. It will take whatever we give it. Okay? Not all NHS trusts provide their networks funding, which raises questions about why others feel it is necessary to do so. Events between January 2022 and March 2023, which is when they did the FOIs, include picnics, talks, film viewing and quizzes. It's a workplace. How are they doing? In London, Barnet, Enfield and Haringey held a staff networks harmonisation away day with 28 attendees, and Croydon Health held a Trans Visibility Day celebration. What? So we've got a staff networks harmonisation away day. What does that mean? A staff networks harmonisation away, which means they're trying to bring the staff networks together to be one thing, doesn't it? What is that one thing they want to bring it together to be? These people, right? These socialist nut jobs in the middle of the NHS. Or it means that they're going away to do harmonisation, as in when you sing together, which I'm sure it's not that, row, row, row your boat. And then the next person starts after you've said row, 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 goes row, row. So you've got a line of people going row, row, row your boat. That can't be it, can it? Welcome to our harmonisation. You start. Row, row, you next, row, 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 and you next, I don't sing. Just do it, it's a staff network do. Row, row, row your boat. Is that? No, that's not that, is it? It's not that, can't be that, right? So what exactly is it? John O'Connell, chief of the Taxpayers Alliance, said, health bosses were warned about the cost placed on the NHS by staff networks, yet still these groups are taking up vast amounts of staff time, while waiting lists show little sign of coming down. Ministers need to step in and rein in some of these groups. An NHS spokesman said these voluntary networks can provide a space for staff to raise, discuss and address concerns, which ultimately helps to improve service for patients. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. For 1 second, the Taxpayers Alliance investigation came as the president of the Royal College of Psychiatry accused the NHS of being institutionally racist. If we need some kind of McCarthy shit going down here. We do. Are you now? Have you ever been a member of an NHS affinity group? I've said it before, we do. We need something. What the hell are we going to do with them, right? Dr. James will also highlight unfair ethnic pay gaps and say that there is a glass ceiling, which means minority groups are underrepresented at senior levels. So it's the usual stuff. It's critical race theory, it's gender identity ideology, it's queer theory. We need to give the NHS an enema. And we need to do it brutally and with malice aforethought. No, I'm kidding. We don't need to do it with malice aforethought, but we do need to do it quickly and then take the hit, because these people are ruining the NHS. Affinity groups need to be declared to be something that, if in an organisation, are in fact illegal, that they do in fact encourage positive discrimination, and they do in fact encourage cronyism, which is of course what both the left and the right are quite happy to do a bit of cronying, aren't they? And the only way to do that really is for somebody to actually come forward and say, we're going to do this. Can't see it happening, can you? Anybody got a leader in sight? I'm watching all the rad films. They're all going, oh, I'm not voting Tory, I'm not voting Tory. You're going to vote Tory. There's going to be lots of you that are going to vote Tory, because when you get in that little booth and it's all scary, oh my God. Women, the concept of women. Any box that isn't ticking Conservative is taking us down the road to hell, and that's going to be the problem, is that we've got this Hobson's choice. There's no bloody choice at all. But the NHS, socialist state in its own right, 1.25 million people, 26,000 days spent watching films, eating cakes and looking up your own bum piece. That's millions of pounds of public money, and I want it back. All right? So I think that's it. EHRC, come forward, step forward and say affinity groups in all organisations, no matter where they are, need to end as a breach of the Equality Act. Or, of course, I could be wrong about that. I just think it would make an interesting test case. Along with what I'm really waiting for, which is the person's right to HR and say, there's a bloke performing a fetish in my office. Stop him. Which we still haven't had happen. Maybe. Hey, go well. Have a lovely evening. I'm off to teach. Warrior teacher time. See you later. Oh, buy me a coffee, you buggers. See you later.